Hello everyone. Welcome to God's Perspective channel. Here we explore the miracles and stories of Jesus Christ together. Today we're going to delve into two of Jesus's miracles, turning water into wine and feeding 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. These miracles are not just simple stories. They contain deep meanings and teachings that are worth savoring. The story takes place in Cana of Galilee, a small town near Nazareth. Jesus' mother, Mary, Jesus, and his disciples were invited to a wedding banquet. In Jewish culture, a wedding banquet was a very important social event that usually lasted several days. For the newlyweds, the smooth running of the banquet was crucial, as it marked the beginning of their marriage and reflected on their family's reputation. Halfway through the banquet, the wine ran out. This was a serious problem at the time because wine played a vital role at the wedding banquet. It was not only the drink of the feast, but also a part of social etiquette. Without wine, the banquet would become awkward and could even bring negative comments to the new family. Mary noticed the problem and came to Jesus, saying, "They have no wine." Mary clearly had full confidence in Jesus. Even though he had not yet performed any public miracles, she knew he had the power to solve this issue. Jesus replied, "Woman, my hour has not yet come." Despite this, Mary told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." She firmly believed Jesus would take action. Next, Jesus instructed the servants to fill 6 stone jars with water. These jars were usually used for ceremonial washing, each holding 20 to 30 gallons of water. The servants followed Jesus' instructions and filled the jars with water. Then Jesus said, "Now, draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." The servants did so. When the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine, he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." This miracle was not just about turning water into wine. It carried profound symbolic significance. Firstly, through this miracle, Jesus displayed his divinity and power. Although he initially said his hour had not yet come, he chose to reveal his miracle at this moment. Secondly, this miracle showed Jesus' concern and response to human needs. The occasion of the wedding banquet, although seemingly ordinary, was very important to the people attending. Jesus chose to reveal his miracle at this moment, showing his attention and care for every detail of human life. Thirdly, this miracle foreshadowed Jesus' future mission. He turned water into wine, symbolizing the fulfillment of the Old Testament laws and prophecies through him, and the new grace and blessings that came through him. Through the miracle of turning water into wine at the Cana wedding banquet, we see Jesus' divinity and his care for humanity. This is not just an ancient story, but a revelation for our lives today. Firstly, Jesus' miracles always appear when we need them the most. Despite initially saying his hour had not yet come, Jesus chose to reveal his miracle at this moment. No matter how great the difficulties we encounter in life, as long as we believe in him, he will always lend a helping hand at the right time. Secondly, faith and obedience are the keys to experiencing miracles. Mary had full confidence in Jesus and told the servants to follow his instructions. It was their faith and obedience that made the miracle possible. Thirdly, this miracle reminds us that God's provision is always the best. The master of the banquet said the bridegroom had saved the best wine until now, showing that what Jesus provides is always the best, far exceeding our expectations. No matter what kind of difficulties we face, as long as we believe in Jesus, He will always give us the best blessings when we need them the most. The story happens near the Sea of Galilee, in a remote area. Jesus and his disciples had just crossed the Sea of Galilee to find a quiet place to rest. However, due to Jesus' growing fame, people from all directions came to hear him teach and witness his miracles. That day, thousands of people gathered, eager to hear Jesus' teachings. As time passed and evening approached, people began to feel hungry. However, there were no places nearby to buy food. Jesus' disciples were anxious and worried about how to feed such a large crowd. They came to Jesus and suggested that he send the crowd away to the nearby villages to buy food. Seeing the crowd, Jesus felt compassion for them. He knew they had given up their entire day to follow him and did not want to send them away hungry. So, he told his disciples, "You give them something to eat." The disciples were puzzled and said, "We only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. How can this feed so many people?" Jesus was not deterred by the apparent difficulty. He told the disciples to have the people sit down and then took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up to heaven, gave thanks, and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples to distribute to the people. The miracle occurred. The small amount of food not only fed everyone, but also left 12 baskets of leftovers. This miracle was not just about multiplying food. It carried profound symbolic significance. Firstly, through this miracle, Jesus displayed his divinity and power. He could turn a small amount of resources into enough to feed a multitude, showing his transcendence over natural laws. Secondly, this miracle showed Jesus' concern and response to human needs. Despite the disciples' belief that the problem was unsolvable, Jesus saw the people's needs and believed in finding a solution. He not only satisfied their physical hunger, but also nourished them spiritually. Thirdly, this miracle foreshadowed Jesus' future mission. Just as he fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish, he would nourish humanity with his life and teachings. The bread and fish symbolized his provision and sustenance for all who follow him. In those days, the Jewish people were an agricultural society relying on daily labor for their food supply. 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish might have been just a child's lunch for an average family. However, Jesus used this small amount of food to create an unprecedented miracle. We can imagine the amazement and gratitude among the crowd as Jesus blessed and distributed the food. Jesus' disciples learned valuable lessons during this process as well. They witnessed Jesus' miracle firsthand, which not only strengthened their faith, but also taught them an important lesson. What seems impossible to man is possible with God. Through this miracle, Jesus demonstrated to his disciples the importance of faith and obedience. This miracle also conveys an important life lesson. Do not feel discouraged by limited resources. In our lives, we may face various difficulties and challenges that make us feel powerless and desperate. However, as long as we trust in God, he will help us in ways we could never imagine. Just as Jesus fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish, God can use our limited resources to achieve infinite blessings. God's love is limitless, and he will always provide help when we need it most. We hope these 2 stories bring you strength and faith. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it with your friends and family. Together, under God's guidance, let's bravely face every challenge in life. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. May God bless you all.